drab and barely readable sign hangs over this cramped place with unfriendly, brusque workers. The building was always crowded with people, but the neighbors can recall ever coming here to have so much as the button sewn back on. Oh, this is the two places of interest, that and the topaz solution. Oh.
I won't let you hurt my friends.
No glory without risk.
Surrender or else.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel. You won't survive me.
Burn, slice, behead.
Doubt is the heart's greatest challenge.
I crave for adventure.
And what a splendid count. And this new Numerian elixir is quite simple. Oh. Look, such darling little creatures, and they're getting killed.
They are the darkness. Into the frame.
Cover me, all right? Exactly. Pineapple.
I'll cut you wide open. The spirits demand your blood.
Thank you for reading.
Is it naked people? Oh, they're wearing underwear.
Did you see that?
Portrait of Galfrey Mendev, ruler of the kingdom, founder of all crusaders. This attack is an utter outrage. Where was the queen in all this? This attack's an utter outrage. Same thing. Thank you, stranger. The girl does not look at least a bit scared. Her cheeks are flushed and her blue eyes are glittering. For saving us from the demons and for your timely entrance. I swear I don't know who has enraged me more today, the demons or the oh so fallible master of this house. Panting a little, the young woman looks at you and smiles. Demons aren't the best audience, wouldn't you agree? Performing for them can be pretty unpleasant, but I guess I was at my best today. I detect a professional challenge in your words. The performance I gave the demons was pretty good too, I admit. What should two bards do when they meet amidst the ruins, in the aftermath of a demonic attack? Of course they find out who is more talented and whose song's more inspiring. After all, why not? Let's have a challenge. Come on, join in. The girl starts singing, composing verses that are simple, even slightly awkward. But as she sings, her voice imbues them with an undeniable charm. O day of hardship, your frigid embrace is warmed with song, and lifted from this place. Okay, so we're gonna use, oh, my bluff is 17, intimidate is 17. Wow, I beat her with everything. Sing the tune of a battle march. Let's go along, a proper song strikes harder than a spear. Let demons come, just dare to come, we'll make them run in fear. I like that. The young woman claps her hands. Wonderful, that's it. You've outmatched me, I admit it. An honest bard. I owe you some reward for winning this little contest. You know what? Here, take my ring. I was going to order another one anyway, to match my new dresses. I'm a friend of Ilk's. He asked me to find you and protect you. Oh, that's... Oh, she's a mage, actually. Tell me about yourself. I'm a bard. What else? I only arrived in Canabras recently. I'm touring the whole Mendev and far beyond its borders to perform for my devoted fans. A bard. That's great. I love singing. Will you sing me a song? Sorry, I don't think this is a good time to sing a song, a long, sweeping epic, but I will gladly sing for you another time, some other time. Can you tell me about the master of the house? About the count? The girl's voice drops to a whisper. I've wanted to smash a jug over his head about 5 times today already. He just brings that feeling out in people. It's one of his many talents. Other than that, well, you've probably already heard about the Arende family. All I can say is that the Count's servants flee this place like rats from a sinking ship. No one ever stays here long, even though he pays them extravagantly. I even heard one servant complain that he always feels uneasy in the Count's home, like someone is watching him. Unseen eyes staring at the back of his head, even if his back is to the well. Even if he turns around, I don't know if I believe all these tales. I'm just telling you what I've heard. Yeah, that's the word on the street, too. The thiefling hunches his shoulders. This mansion, it's the tastiest morsel in the whole city, but all the thieves are afraid to even set foot in the street. Are you deliberately talking as if I'm not here? Excellent. Like any polite host, I shall return the favor and act as if you're not here either. Darren, ugh. I'm a friend of Ilk's. He asked me to find you and protect you. The young woman clasped her hands together. Ilk's is alive, and he's made a brilliant new friend. It's a shame it had to happen now, when the city is under siege by the demons, and those pig-headed inquisitors are pursuing us instead of doing something useful. Tell me about yourself. I am Aranka, traveling bard and a follower of Desna. Many of my fellow bards are rootless misfits. Rootless MILFs. Misfits who wander the world, unwilling or unable to live a normal life. For me, that's only partly true. I have a wonderful family, my mother, father, grandmother, and brother. Right now, they are far away and I am sure they miss me. But they have always supported me in my vocation, and they let me be free to roam. Because they knew that I couldn't be happy while there was so much of the world I hadn't explored, and so many places where people might need my help. How did you end up here? Holren's hounds found me and Wallflower, and they tried to capture us. I distracted them. Then I lost them in the streets before charming my way into this party. Even if the Inquisitors saw where I went, they wouldn't have been allowed past the door. Holren holds no sway amongst members of the aristocracy, so I picked a good place to lie low. That is, until a demon showed up. The girl shivers and wraps her arms around herself. Now that's more like it. So I have inevitably been harboring a traitor wanted by the Canaverous Inquisition. This day wasn't such a waste after all. Do you know where the third of your group is? Wallflower? No idea. If he knows about the demon attack, he won't just hide away. He'll go out and try to help people. If he doesn't know, well, you have no chance of finding him. He's a pretty skilled mage, but I doubt he'll risk using magic. He'll probably do something the Inquisitors won't expect. Pose as someone, disguise himself. We had a great selection of masquerade costumes in the temple. The girl becomes lost in thought for a moment. I know. I'll tie my shawl around your arm. Wallflower gave it to me. He'll spot it right away and know you're a friend. If I were you, I'd look him in Canaverous Market Square. Okay. Why did you decide to break into the Wardstone and cast magic on it? You put your lives at risk. Your information could have been a trap set by the demon. But it wasn't a demon trap, Aranka says forcefully. Then her voice softens and her expression turns pensive. You know, living next to the whirlwind and seeing the powerlessness of the Crusaders, it's very hard. We've been trying to defeat the demon for 100 years now, and we have nothing to show for it. I think that Queen Galfrey and the other leaders think that they can defeat evil if we live up our soldiers in perfect columns and send them marching off with a stirring battle cry. We just need a few more soldiers, a little more discipline, but we've been marching for 100 years, and it's always one step forward, two step back. And while the soldiers are marching, people like Holren are seizing power behind their backs. His fanaticism and cruelty were forged in the same furnace of the Crusaders' righteousness. We will never defeat the demons if we keep trying to march down the same path. We need to change tack, to challenge our principles, trust our hearts and our friends, and not moldering doctrines. We need to listen to any entity that is willing to help us. My friends and I listened, and we trusted, and we tried to change something. At least we tried, even though it didn't work out. Great idea. Marching in straight lines won't work. So let's go attack the demons in the merry band of hopers and dreamers, brimming with enthusiasm and doing just whatever we feel like. When the demons see us coming, they'll die of hysterics and our victory will be complete. Naive children, that's what you are. But I admit, your words stir something in my soul. I wouldn't put you in charge of a military campaign, but I'd be proud to fight alongside you. I killed Hulrun. He won't threaten you ever again. It's a shame it ended this way for him. Hopefully his successor will keep the Inquisitors in check. Can you get somewhere safe on your own? It looks like the Inquisitors aren't busting down doors just yet, and they're not hiding under the bed, so I think I'm safe for now. I'll be fine on my own. I'll go to our temple, to Ilk's. The Inquisitors must have searched there by now, and they won't be back a second time. I have to go. Good luck. May Desna be with you, stranger.
I did it!
Intricate pattern on the harp depicts the star, moon, and butterflies, hallmarks of goddess Desna. She's just gonna what? She's gonna, oh, she disappeared already. Courtesan.
Wherever my legs carry me.
person. I like you.
Greetings, valiant stranger who has just burst into my life. I am the master of this house, Count Dayron Kale, myriad mellifluous monikers Arunde. No need to introduce yourself. I find remembering insignificant details, such as the name of passing acquaintances, such a bore.
Wow. Bonafide blue bloods and unparalleled aristocracy. All this makes me itch to do something really crass. Ooh, like blow my nose on the curtains.
What are you waiting for, my squamous squire? The curtains in this room are velvet, but we have some excellent silk ones with gold thread elsewhere in the house. Take your pick. My soft furnishings are yours to do with as you wish. I'm quite sick of the place, truly. I shall either sell it, or burn it to the ground and build a new mansion in its place. Now that we've finished with the niceties, tell me this. How did all those thrice-damned demons end up at my soiree?
Must have been some party to miss the fact that Canabras was being attacked by hordes of demons and Discari himself.
Oh, come. The party was deathly dull. Rather like one of the prelate's interminable sermons. I really ought to be grateful to the demons for their intrusion. They certainly added a frisson to the proceedings.
Frisson.
It seems as though Discari's occasion was altogether more of a crush than mine. If you will pardon the pun.
What should I know about you, Count, apart the fact that you are highborn and very rich?
As a child, I had my very own pony, but I always dreamed of having a lamb. I was never allowed one. Sheep were seen as peasant animals, utterly unsuitable for the scion of a noble line. The trauma haunts me to this day. I think of it every time I have roast lamb for dinner.
I'm sorry that happened to you. Such a sad story.
I had not even the slightest intention of upsetting such a lovely child.
I'm not lovely. Some people have even called me a scarecrow before.
That's patently absurd. Why, you can't possibly be a scarecrow with a crow following you around. I'm sorry if I failed to sate your curiosity. I loathe talking about myself to people I don't know, even more to those I do know. The only thing worth knowing, aside from the fact that I am highborn and filthy rich, is that I dislike Puritans and demons in equal measure. Well, perhaps demons a tad more.
You don't seem very concerned about the city's fate.
I have no friends here whose untimely demise I would care to mourn. The only alarming thing is how easily all this happened. I don't care for the thought that demons could come calling at my door at any moment. And just think, everyone had so much faith in the ward stones gifted by Iomede's herald, and in the might of our tamed dragon, as if there had been no Dresden or a dozen other routes where the demons overcame every defense.
The Orendes are one of the most ancient and noble families in Mendiv. They are related by blood to Queen Galfrey herself. The Count is the last remaining member of his dynasty. The rest all perished around 10 years ago. In the tragedy at the family seat, Heaven's Edge, the demons got past the defenses and massacred everyone inside.
I thank you for providing your friend with that helpful summary, my lady. I believe I've seen you before, with that hilarious buffoon Horgus Gwyrm. I sincerely hope you are not engaged in any kind of sordid arrangement with him. The thought of something so splendid in proximity to something so grotesque makes me feel quite ill. You deserve a better fate than that, no doubt.
Your civility knows no bounds, Count. I most assuredly do not have any arrangement with Master Gwyrm.
I expect a little gratitude for saving you.
Of course, where are my manners? There. You can also poke about the house and claim whatever takes your fancy. Though I imagine some of you already had that in mind.
I'm feeling very attacked right now.
You can go to the Defender's Heart. It's under the protection of Irabeth Tirabade and the Evil Watch.
I thank you for the invitation, but I am not quite as desperate as I may seem. At times, it is better to be surrounded by the repugnant mugs of demons than the sour and dour physiognomies of Iomede's righteous paladins.
What about my physiognomy? Sour enough for his lordship? Don't worry, another few minutes with the dazzling Count here, and it'll sour like week-old milk.
What's this? An attractive paladin with a sense of humor? You're a veritable walking scandal. Either way, my mansion is now safe. I have a pair of half-decent guards. I just need to drag them out of the storeroom and bring them to their senses. I ordered them to drink a love potion, you see? For reasons which seemed extremely witty at the time and in the state of inebriation I then found myself in. They can guard the house while the valorous paladins beat back the demon assault. They will beat them back, yes? As regards myself, I feel like stretching my legs. I know rudimentary divine spells, I'm no friend to demons, and I elevate any society that I deign to grace with my presence. I shall accompany you, only for a short time, of course. I have no desire to remain at the vanguard for a protracted period. What say you, my ephemeral but highly diverting acquaintance? After all, Lord Descari spoiled my party. I now burn with the desire to spoil his.
Thoughts?
I don't like this guy much at all. Not even because of his personality, but just... I sense something dark about him.
I guess thumping him one next time he comes out with more aristocratic witterings is not allowed? All the more reason to take him with us. If we don't kill him, the demons surely will.
He has all these friends at his party, and he still looks so lonely. We can take him with us. Maybe it will make him feel better?
Don't ask me. Having him tag along would be like going for a nighttime stroll through the back alleys with a diamond tiara on your head. Even I don't like that kind of attention.
The Count's presence can only benefit us. I think we should say yes.
He doesn't look like a whiner, and he can hold his own, so he won't be dead weight.
Deal.
Capital. Good acquaintances that begin and end at just the right moment often leave the most pleasant memories. Wouldn't you say?
Forwards. No, backwards.
Something happened to that picture when I equipped that. But it doesn't happen anymore. He's an oracle? That's very interesting. What happened to all my potions?
Oh, the waiting's never fun.
No reason to pause. A bright future
Meditate on your
awaits us.
mistakes. Might make you feel better.
We will win this war.
I welcome your company.
Hey Leon, how are you?
Together?
Quick, quick! Let's bring this all the fun!
Thanks, Lan. You're so awesome, Lan. The mongrel did it.
Trail me.
That's all we got in here.
What's in wait for me there, I wonder?
You cannot rest here? Can you rest in here?
This way.
What? And he can't give us a place to sleep.
Wherever one wants to stay.
I'm doing alright. Let's see. Guess we'll rest outside. Okay, can we rest out here? Oh, cool. Alright.
You pride yourself on being a rig and a liberty. But could you ever bring yourself to sleep with a mongrel? I bet you toss your cookies at the first whiffle one.
If this is you propositioning me, then I'm game. Now, how much would you care to bet?
What a slut. That guy will sleep with anyone. Oh, look at the abyssal corruption. Sometimes a long-awaited rest does not bring the desired relief. What comes is a heavy, clinging sleep on the edge of wakefulness, where consciousness seems poised between reality and oblivion. The possible reasons for such disturbed slumber are myriad: strained nerves, perhaps, or lingering reaction to trauma. Venus emerges from the oblivion of her laden sleep, like a drowned woman dragging herself up from the depths of a swamp. The wound on her chest is burning, like someone pressed an invisible brand to it. The wound has closed again, but the bloodstain on her shirt betrays its presence beneath. There's no time to investigate the cause of her malaise. A trying day lies ahead, but how will Venus be up to the challenge if her thoughts are so muddled and her entire body aches, like after a day's toil? I can't ignore my health, better take care of it now rather than later when it could already be too late. After several moments, the weariness abates, retreating to the depths of her subconscious, but leaving the path open to return the next time Venus seeks refuge in sleep. Venus recalls that she slept peacefully in the defender's heart. Perhaps the priest can explain what has happened? Oh. Corruption and nightmares. And now they're going to explain corruption. Nightmares and corruption prevent you from resting well. Corruption increases during rest at different rates in different areas. When your corruption reaches first, second, or third level, various negative effects are applied. There are 3 corruption levels in total. The higher the level, the more difficult it becomes to fight your battles. The character who is assigned to the protective rituals role performs these rituals before a party goes to sleep, which reduces the corruption gain. You can fully remove corruption in safe places. You will discover these areas as respite as you progress through the game. In some locations, you can come across holy artifacts. Cleansing them or interacting with them will allow you to partially remove your corruption level. Okay. But now we need to... We're in here, right? Yeah. We need to go back to the Defender's Heart.
I see blood! Blood!
Out of my sight!
Oh! Watch out. Oh, it's dead already? Jeez.
Did you see that?
I will help where I can.
Are we in trouble yet? Yet another obstacle.
Why is Camellia not moving forward? Wow, that rain. Hey, Ramian is here.
Forwards! No backwards, backwards!
If you know who's who in this city, maybe you can tell me something about Count Arende? I'll tell you, why not? Everyone knows the story, you see, but you could say that I'm the one who found it, in a way. The Arandes are very wealthy and ancient line, and they hail from the outlying areas of Canabras. That's where the Arande family seat is, along with their ancestral lands. In the past, if Mendev was ever feuding with Sarkoris, or some clan from there was causing trouble, the Count and Countess Arande were the ones who would defend the border with their soldiers. Their main residence was called Eagle Heaven's Edge. It still stands to this day north of here, on the road towards Dresden, but no one lives there now. Around 10 or so years ago, there was a grand celebration held at this date. The mother and guardian of the current count invited the great and the good to celebrate his birthday. The entire Aranda clan was there, as well as many other nobles, and then without warning, the demon struck. Clearly, they couldn't ignore such a perfect opportunity to cut down so many of Mendev's great dynasties in one fell swoop. There was even a chance that the queen herself would make an appearance, for she was related to the count as well. Well, when no news came from the estate, the troop of inquisitors was sent to investigate. The force opened the gates and discovered the manor full of corpses. They all perished, Joran says sorrowfully. The servants, the guards, the guests, including some of Iomede's chosen clerics and paladins. The demons had unleashed a magical plague, terrifying and strange, the likes of which hadn't been seen before, or since. And among all of this was young Darren Arende, the only survivor. The Count had a talent for divine magic since his youth, healing magic in particular, and that must be why he didn't die along with the rest. He couldn't explain how he survived the disease. I saw him that day when they brought him into the city, pale and barely conscious of his surroundings. So that's the story. Since then, Heaven's Edge has stood abandoned, sealed off to the outside world. People are still afraid to go near the place. Okay, now I need to shop. Oops. Keep that. That's the staff. Someone, we should have someone use the... Oh, but it's for bludgeoning, but the range is 50 feet. What's the range on the bow? $50, so... Okay. Guess you should definitely use the... She can't even use it. This is interesting. Sling staff? He can't use it. Nobody can use the sling staff. Okay.
Trail me.
I wish I could give that dagger to one of my rogues. Whoops.
What's in wait for me there?
Oh, I forgot to talk to the priest. Oh, it's raining. I like it when it's raining. You're still trying to pull that demon. Can't believe Homer is dead. Pharasma rest his wretched soul.
This way. Wherever my legs carry me.
He's sitting outside my room.
No, backwards.
Wait, there's a demon in here. There are a couple of what? There are 4 demons in here. What happened? And then Amber is like in the kitchen. Did she summon what demons? What's going on here? That was weird.
Trail me.
And her crow is actually in the bedroom. The demons were killed recently, no doubt about that. But it's not clear if it happened here or if the bodies were brought here from elsewhere. Weird.
What's in wait for me there, I wonder?
The Defender's Heart is a splendid choice for the Crusade's outpost. The very sight of these walls brings back fond memories of drinks and revels. The drinks were really good, by the way. May I ask you a few personal questions? You can try. I've heard stories about the tragedy that befell your family. I hope you don't feel obliged to offer me your insincere condolences on this unfortunate occasion. My whole family, my entire noble line, they all died, and demons are to blame. It's not like I actually loved any of my relatives except for my mother, but what's gone is gone. The family crypts are full of corpses, all covered in dust and the shadows of the past. What do you cherish most in life? There are far more things that I cherish to fit them all into a single conversation. Believe it or not, but I might be one of the most life-loving person you've ever known. Darren smiles. His eyes are gleaming with something different from his usual impudence and irony. There is a dreamy air about him all of a sudden. I rarely meet anyone who embraces the joys of living as enthusiastically as myself. There are so many exciting and beautiful things in the world. It should be illegal to waste your time on anything you do not enjoy. And I am not able to repeat that to anyone's face. Should it be Descari and his demonic herd, or Iamade, the Lightbringer herself? What do you hate the most? The feeling of helplessness, the lack of control over my own life. Darren replies without thinking. Then he adds, with obvious sarcasm, and onion rings, of course. I would murder the person who came up with those abominations. You don't seem especially keen on helping people, but your knowledge of healing is truly impressive. What prompted your interest in that? If you really want to try out everything life has to offer, you also have to understand how to deal with the consequences. And I'm not talking about a simple hangover, mind you. Do you have any good stories about your past exploits? I've got plenty, but I have to warn you that even the most outrageous debauchery sounds far less thrilling when you were not the one doing the debauching. Since you ask, I suppose the worst mess I've ever got myself into was when I staged my own kidnapping. It was once in correspondence with one of the Riverland nobles, the young Lord Lebeda, and he told me about his days as a hostage to a group of bandits. This made me wonder what it would be like, and I thought that it might be fun to set up a little experiment. I engineered my own kidnapping by a certain gang through a chain of intermediaries and hired actors. Those fellows took the job very seriously. They caught me by surprise, killed my 2 bodyguards, and even tied me up. Of course, the whole thing seems preposterous now, but it seemed like an ingenious idea at the time. The employers had told the kidnappers that they were to keep me safe and sound, and another group of mercenaries in disguise was watching the spectacle from afar, ready to interfere in case anything went wrong. It turned out to be a terrible idea nonetheless. It wasn't the least bit fun or exciting. Sure, those bandits had been unable to torture or hurt me physically in any way, but they had plenty of other non-invasive methods of humiliation in their arsenal. Taking almost all of your clothes off and splashing ice-cold water all over you, for example. I can't even remember if I said anything truly offensive to provoke them. Even though I initially planned to let them go after the ransom, their overly emotional reactions made me change my mind. I told my mercenaries to hang them all on the spot. I suppose the whole ordeal taught me a valuable lesson, which is that I am not built for hardships and trials. Wait, you just told me that a couple of your bodyguards died during the staged kidnapping? Does that mean two innocent people lost their lives so that you could have a bit of fun? Darren pales a little, but not out of shame. Oh, spare me. It irks me beyond all measure when I hear about the suffering of innocents. He sighs, looks away, and continues in a flat, polite tone. Yes, the bodyguards died. Guarding nobles is a dangerous job. They were well aware of the risk. I don't really see a problem with that. Besides, they proved their incompetence. They would have stood no chance against real kidnappers. I'd say life's too short not to try out everything you can. I guess he has a point. I shall console myself with that thought. So that was a stupid story, and now I'll tell you a truly brilliant one. Prelate Holren had always strictly prohibited any public celebrations in Canabras, and he always picked on me for my lack of respect for the fallen and whatnot. His grumbling annoyed me so much that one day I drove 4 barges into the city harbor and set up a celebration on their decks. The ships on the river didn't fall under the prelate's jurisdiction, you see, so all he could do was snarl at me from the embankment. I, for one, did not forget the old boy. The main attraction of the festivities involved an inquisitor of Iomede dancing and roasting beautiful witches on illusory bonfires, taking off his clothes with every new victim. The spectacle was so heated, in every sense of the word, that the prelate almost had a stroke. Darren gives me a mischievous smile. I still consider that one of my finest ideas of all time. Should the Crusaders ever succeed in their efforts against the whirlwind, I will do my utmost to get permission to hold grand public celebration. Rivers of wine free of charge, an obligatory parade, and a carnival in the evening. A contest for the most provocative succubus costume with a hefty prize in gold. Another contest where the participants have to fish sausage out of a wine jar blindfolded with their hands tied behind their backs. The wine will symbolize the blood of all the dead heroes of the war. And the sausage, well, they'll find a heroic meaning for that as well. Over the years, the commemoration of the greatest victory of light over darkness will turn into an ordinary holiday, a fine excuse to get sloshed and rut like animals in the streets. Do you enjoy being mean to everyone? Yes. And here I thought you were hurling insults at people purely by accident. Darren laughs. This time his smile is surprisingly soft. I like your way with words. What did you expect me to say if I wanted to make a good impression? Something along the lines of, I'm not mean, I'm just being honest with myself and everyone else. That's what people use as an excuse when they want to keep up their saccharine facade while still saying whatever nasty little thoughts spring to their mind. That is not what I do. I have no hidden agenda. I'm just as much of an insufferable prick as I seem to be. Some people are simply begging for a good dose of mockery, so who am I to deny them? I don't give a damn if anyone holds a grudge against me, which is why I don't even try to avoid it. I have no more questions. I hope this conversation was at least the slightest bit amusing. It is. I'd like to talk to you about life in Mendev and the Crusade. Ask. I'm all ears. What's your opinion on Mendev today in general? It doesn't exist, Darren scowls. It is a frontier country that has attracted every utopian, adventurer, and fanatic from all over the world for more than a century. It is a place where the strangers outnumber the locals, especially in the cemeteries. The population of Mendev, for the most part, consists of humans and other races not exactly known for their longevity. So the current generation of Mendevians were born in the shadow of the whirlwind and raised by the Crusades. He's an elf, he's going to live for 1,000 years. I might be the last person to complain about the decline of traditions and lack of character in our country, but I also happen to come from one of Mendev's most ancient lineages. Its history is bred deep in my bones. My tutors told me stories about my heritage, the galleries, libraries, and even interiors of the manors I grew up in were filled to the brim with memories of events long past. There are many heroes of old Mendev among my glorious ancestors, or at least the very patrons and contemporaries of such heroes. Does anyone actually remember them now? I don't think so. These days, Mendev has its own heroes, in shining armor and with holy fire in their eyes. I myself remember how several streets that once celebrated my ancestors were renamed in honor of some crusaders who had died in a heroic fashion. None of the citizens remember the old crossing festival that was eventually replaced by our mass. These holidays even share the same date. Pretty much the only authentic thing about Mendev now is its endless war with the demons. And is there a point in bemoaning this state of affairs? What's gone is gone, but at least we're no longer some tiny godforsaken northern kingdom, and that's something, isn't it? You don't really like crusaders, do you? Quite the opposite. When I think about how many devoted heroes are willing to protect this world against a demonic threat, I feel so inspired to continue indulging my vices while they fight to keep me safe. Imagine being someone like me, someone who has everything they can possibly desire. Youth, beauty, I'm not sure what beauty now. Well, I guess a lot of people like the feminine looking elven type. Wealth, an honest wish to live and enjoy living, but vanishingly few ways to put it all in use. The fact that the word fun itself is not yet outlawed in Mendev must be due to some bureaucratic oversight. You can celebrate your victory solemnly, you can wet your whistle after a challenging battle, but what about real fun, joys, pleasures? I can't remember a single evening at court without someone chastening me for my banquets, my lovers and mistresses, my luxuriant clothes, my everything. It would have been a lot easier to tolerate all those hypocrites if they took a break once in a while. Instead, there was a constant fuss about how I wasn't doing anything for the greater good and how I only brought shame to my royal cousin. What do you think of our enemies? Do you mean the demons themselves or their followers? The former deserve to be cleansed with heavenly fire for their unholy origin alone, and the latter for their idiocy. I don't understand why a sane person would submit themselves to the Skari or Cabriri. Alright, Lady Nocticula almost seems like a bearable enough mistress. Yet there are so many other cultists. They have tried to recruit me twice already, and I'm not even that old. First, a very pretty tiefling girl tried to seduce me. Then they came with promises of Lord Baphomet's endless boons. I still wonder what exactly the old hornhead could offer me that I don't already have. You know what I've been thinking? Every shopkeeper knows this trick. An enticing offer along the lines of 1 in every 100 buns from my bakery contains a silver coin. And, of course, a hired actress to make a memorable show of finding said coin in her sweet roll. And there you have it. Hundreds of gullible fools storm the shop hoping to find the prize for themselves. I think the infamous Aurelu Vorlesh was such an actress for the Lord of the Abyss, a pretty Sarkorian witch who became the uncrowned queen of the World Moon, waited upon hand and foot by demon lords. Only instead of visiting the bakery, the gullible fools rush to join the cultists. We have an army of unbelievably powerful supernatural invaders from another dimension, hell-bent on destruction and domination. And what do these fools do? They serve them willingly as pawns and lackeys, hoping against hope that someday their masters will notice them. You won't believe how delighted I am to be so vain and self-absorbed. These sins protect me from against demonic temptation better than any virtue. What made you join my party after all? You mean instead of carousing far away from Canabras with a small army of mercenaries to protect me? I will get to that. You see, when you appeared at my door out of nowhere, awash with bravery and heroism, and started tossing demons around like rag dolls, I thought that your company might be more exciting than my usual crowd of sycophantic hangers-on. You seemed competent and mysterious at the same time, so I decided that a little demon hunting wouldn't hurt, especially with such an intriguing entourage. That party had been growing staler with every passing second anyway. Needless to say, I'm not here for long. I shall return to the capital even when my country estates as soon as we reclaim the city. Crusaders, bellowing commanders, row upon row of identical tents. This is not the life for me, but I will certainly remember you and your adventures together, and our adventures together, for a week or perhaps even longer than that. Interesting. Played this game for 16 hours? Wow. Where is that priest? Is it this guy here? Oh, I haven't talked to Nidino, have I? Nenio. Girl, I'm pleased with you. I asked you to bring me to safety, and that's exactly what you did. Do you know how to find a beehive in the forest? You need to catch 2 bees, set them free in 2 different locations of the forest, and remember the direction they fly in. Then you take a map and draw lines showing the bees' routes. The place where the line intersect will mark the location of the beehive. Fascinating, yes? By the way, forest bees do not make any honey. You know, these ruins of yours may turn out to be just that, ruins. In that case, we'll write this experiment off as a failure and start another one. I don't know which experiment I'll try next. Well, now you know, so off we go. Did I just make a rhyme? Perhaps I've discovered poetic talent in myself? Let's conduct an experiment. Quickly, say any word and I'll try to find a rhyme for it right away. Science. That's when thinkers make alliance. Intellectual defiance. Not the best rhymes, don't you think? Well, this experiment was unsuccessful. We learned that I have no poetic talent after all. Nenio sighs. But it's no reason to despair. Having a gift of poetry in addition to my inexhaustible intelligence would have been a little too much. Besides, I'm catastrophically busy and have no time to spend on writing poetry. I don't like it when you call me girl. My name is Venus. On the grand scale of today's world history, your name is irrelevant. I have no reason to remember it. You see, the brain of any given individual can contain only a limited amount of facts. I only expend my memory of things that are truly important. The laws of thermodynamics, divine esoterica, planar geography, things that will lead Galorian to a brighter future. Besides, what if I make a great discovery? I won't be able to remember it because my memory is full of outdated and useful information. What a nightmare that would be. What a loss for the whole of Galorian. But you do remember your name, alright? Only so I know what to put for the author's name in my encyclopedia. Are there any names worth remembering? There are, and to my deepest regret, there are too many of them. Nenio heaves a sigh that would befit a grief-stricken old man. The names of gods and demigods, the names of rulers, conquerors, and other persons by some reason deemed great by the people of Galorian. They etch their names into history and alas, every self-respecting educated person must know them. But there are some names I'm happy to remember. Great scientists, some of them divine, others mortal, true keepers of knowledge, and great experimentalists. These pioneers of knowledge, Irori, Nethys, Arilu Vorlash, And don't let the Crusaders hear that. Master of Masters, the Enlightened One. The Perfect Human. Nethys, All-Seeing Eye, Garundi God who holds knowledge of magic above all things. Here's a god of magic tormenting, destroying the world with one hand and saving it with the other. Arulu Voilash opened the world wound. She's the betrayer of humanity. It's her fault the demons invaded Galorian. Admiring Arulu Voilash is going too far, don't you think? Oh, by no means. She's the greatest of the greatest. Just imagine. She managed to open a rift from Galorian to the Abyss. No one knew how. No one believed it possible. No one even dreamed of such a thing, and she did it. It was the experiment of the century. Nenia wipes a tear from her eye. I would have been so happy if I could have been in her place. Of course, some part of Galorian's population died as a result of her experiments, and the Crusaders are still wrestling with its consequence to this day. But the very essence of what Arulu managed to do was a breakthrough of cosmic significance, both figuratively and literally. Sooner or later, the whirlwind will be closed. Peace will return to Galorian, and for the victims of the ongoing war, they will be remembered as unfortunate but unavoidable sacrifices made at the altar of science. You're crazy. Nenia blinks at you, perplexed. Were we talking about something? I'd like to clarify a few things about your new task. Okay, I already know everything there. Tell me about yourself. I'm an explorer, a pilgrim, a yet-to-be-recognized scientific luminary. Oh, I already read this. You have a circle tattooed on your shoulder. What does that mean? Nenia casts a sidelong glance at her shoulder. Oh, that. I do not remember the circumstances of its creation, but I like it. I prefer to think of it as a zero, null, nothing, a center point, an origin of coordinates. It reminds me how much of the unknown, the world there is to explore. Don't you remember how you got this tattoo? That information is irrelevant. I decided to forget. How can you just decide to forget important pieces of information? This is just one of my many talents. The secret is to stop thinking about the thing you want to forget, and the main thing is not to remember anything you don't need. To filter it, to get right to the essence. I'll teach you someday, unless I forget. What is this encyclopedia you're working on? Encyclopedia Galorianica will be published in 100 volumes, 1,000 pages each, plus the author's addenda, appendices added by future co-authors, and critical commentaries. Addenda indexation is still in question. Nenia looks slightly embarrassed. I just like the number 100, but I'm not sure that I'll be able to keep within the established word limit. That'll be a magisterial piece of scholarship that will become part of the mandatory curriculum of every educational institution worth mentioning. In it, I intend to describe every object, item, event, fact, and personality that is present on or at least somehow related to Galorian. My calculations show that I have completed no more than 1% of this monumental book. Do you remember your parents, your past, or is that all irrelevant too? All of it is irrelevant on the grand scale of world history. I have no reason to remember such things. I admire the capabilities of your memory. Nanya stays silent and gives you a puzzled look. What were we talking? And then he forgets already. I'll stop torturing you with questions for now. What were we talking about? I have to go. Nanya produces a crumpled piece of paper from her sleeve and takes some notes on it. This conversation lasted approximately 5 minutes. She lifts her chin. By the way, did you know what is the exact amount of time the Inquisitors of Canabras need to find a defendant guilty? But to shake off Inquisitors chasing you 5 times as long. That experiment proved that running white-clad in heavy armor is not burdensome for them at all. It's interesting.
This way.
So someone was interested in me from my party. I just don't know who. Okay, it wouldn't be Anivia because Anivia don't. I'll go with that. So we have
Wherever my legs carry me.
Lan. We have what else do we have? Could it be? No, it couldn't be Woljiv now, could it?
Forwards. No, backwards, backwards.
Let's see here. No. Maybe you can't initiate that kind of conversation here. Okay, that's everyone. Okay. Okie dokie. I'm gonna take a break. Thanks for being here, Leon. Talk to you later. Bye bye.